Hi, everyone. So I have the pleasure of announcing the 2021 Peter Munk Award winner this year, Matthew Fenton. So Matthew is the president and CEO of Magris Resources. Matthew joined Magris at its inception in 2013. And in 2015, he led the 500 million acquisition and subsequent repositioning as a standalone operation of Quebec-based niobium producer, Niobec. And before joining Magris, Matthew has a decade of experience in resource and private equity sectors. And Matthew currently serves on the board of Mining for Life, a nonprofit organization that since its inception in 2010, the organization has raised over 30 billion to support children's health and education in the communities worldwide. And I know, Matthew, we could go much longer about your CVs and your great experience, but we'll dive in right away into questions. So first, congratulations on winning the award. Well deserved.
Oh, thank you very much. And it's a real honor. I know pretty well some of the prior award recipients who are friends and colleagues, and it's a real honor to be in their company and to be recognized for this award. So thank you, and it's something that means a lot.
Great. And so this interview is all about getting to know you. So I guess I'll start with my first question is, how did you start your career in the mining industry?
Sure. Well, for me, it was a bit more of an accident than something that was planned. As you said, prior to joining Magris, I spent about 10 years in finance and private equity and worked most recently in the private equity group at Brookfield Asset Management. And in 2012 and 2013, it was a time when it was hard to find good investments in many of the sectors that we had focused on. And the resources sector was going through a more challenging period, and that sort of created opportunities. And so as a team, we started spending time in resources, and that coincided with my boss at Magris, Aaron Regent, leaving Barrick Gold, where he was the CEO, and rejoining and taking an office at Brookfield, where he had been a partner for 20 years before going to Barrick. And we reconnected, and he ultimately decided he was going to start his own venture, Magris. And I had the opportunity to join him and took it. And 8 years later, here we are.
Yeah, very good. And okay, so this question I've asked all the past winners and different answers for all of them. I know it's a very personal and subjective question, but what comes to mind when we talk about success or being successful to you?
Sure. Look, for me, success, I think of it more as a process versus sort of a specific item. When we come out of school or when we start our first jobs, you're focused on grades and then your reviews. But for me, I look back now, and success I really look at as a bit of a journey, and it's underpinned by the opportunity to get great mentorship and build meaningful relationships and do work that you think is purposeful and enjoy. And at Magris, we sort of have three main principles that we try and stick to since we started the company, which are first, surround yourself and work with people you like and respect. Second, have fun doing what you're doing. It's not that you can do that all the time, but try find things that are interesting and enjoyable. And third, do things in the right way, in a way that you can be proud of. And in my experience and our experience at Magris, if you focus on those sort of principles, a lot of the other typical measures of success, the financial measurements and other metrics, seem to follow. And so for me, it's been an evolving process. There's obviously ups and downs, but I think success, when you look back, is driven by all those steps and sticking to those values and ultimately getting the mentorship and building the relationships and then achieving some of the other financial goals and other things that you're focused on.
And is there someone, and could be more than one person, that you look up to in the industry?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity both in the industry and here in Toronto in the business community to have a lot of great mentors over my career, and that they span all different ages and different experiences. But the person that sticks out the most and has had the biggest impact on my career would be my boss and the founder of Magris, Aaron Regent. And look, Aaron's well known in the business community and in the mining industry from his time in various roles, but he's really an exceptional human being. And as a mentor, the amount of time he invests in young people and in his teams is something that's very unique. And for the last 8 years, he's taken a real vested interest in helping me succeed in my career and giving me responsibility and coaching me along the way, not just from a mining standpoint, but also to become a better all-around individual. He's pushed me into nonprofit work and just provided a lot of wisdom and guidance throughout my career. So he certainly is a big part of the reason that we're even having this discussion.
And what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Probably the same advice I'd give to my 35-year-old self, which is listen more and talk less. There used to be a colleague of mine at Brookfield that used to say that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And as someone who joined, started in finance young and full of energy, you want to have a voice and you want to participate, but often that comes at the expense of really listening and learning. And it's still a process for me, and I got to remind myself of that, in various things we do. But it's really listening and trying to learn from those around you, because there's a lot to gain from that. And I think it's something that's served me well, and I hope to continue to do better at.
Oh, that's actually a really good one. Now that I think about it, I'm like, very good. I'll keep that in mind. And according to you, I know now you're in a position like president, CFO, so you're definitely in a leadership position. But what do you think it takes? So there's a lot of our audience, like young professionals who are starting their career or kind of in position where they're building up a bit more of their experience. So what does it take to be a good leader or in a leadership position and do good?
Yeah, look, it's been a great learning experience for me as I've taken on, different leadership roles. And now, at Magris, we have over 700 employees. And so, there's a lot of different opportunities to take on leadership roles within the business. But I think, look, a lot of us come from specific skill sets when we start our career. And as you take on more responsibility and have broader leadership responsibilities, I think the most important thing that I've learned is you have to adapt your style to the different people that you're leading, and you have to try to bring out the best in the various people in your organizations. And not everybody thinks the way you do. Not everyone has the same experiences that you do. And so trying to take a step back and really put yourself in people's shoes and think about how you can empower them and get the most out of them is something that's really important. And it's a lot of it's common sense, but spending that extra time to really try and pull out people's strengths that may be different than yours, I think is really an important part of being a good leader and ultimately getting the best results out of the teams that you do lead.
Now, on a bit more of a personal note, do you have a morning routine, whether it's pre-work or at work?
Yeah, I'm a big morning person. So those who know me know that I'm up very early. So my day usually starts at around 5 a.m. and a huge part of my day is fitness every day. And that's, look, for my physical health, but also for my mental health. I sort of joke with my friends that that's when I do my best thinking. It's when I clear my head if I wake up with a lot of stress. And so almost every day I'm up early, no matter where I'm traveling, and making sure fitness is part of my routine. And then I like to be in the office early. I find that those first couple hours of the day are when you actually have control of your schedule and you have time to sort of do the things that are important to you and take time to read or learn about things. Whereas, once the business day starts, you sort of lose control of that and you never know what direction you're going to get taken in. So I really value the mornings, and that's sort of something that's precious to me, and I try focus on no matter where I am.
Good. And okay, another personal question. Which book have you given the most?
Book. Well, recently I've actually sent a book to some people called The Hillbilly Elegy. And The Hillbilly Elegy is a story of a gentleman named J.D. Vance who grew up in middle America. And the book just offers a perspective of growing up in rural America, which is something that is very different than I can relate to, having grown up in urban Canada, and really helps provide a perspective on some of the politics that have happened in the United States and some of the rationale behind what we've seen in different politics and geopolitical events sort of around the world. And so getting that perspective, I think, is really interesting. It's certainly different than the mainstream, and it's been fun to send it to people because I think it gives you a different appreciation for what it's like to grow up in a completely different environment and have been instilled with very different values and get an appreciation for again, being in someone else's shoes. And so it's been an interesting book. And this guy has now gone on to he worked for Peter Thiel, the big tech and Facebook investor, and now he's launching a bid for Congress. And so it's a neat story and something I'd encourage others to read as well.
Okay, interesting. Any plans you can share with us for 2021, whether it's in your role or with the company?
Yeah, so we just 2 weeks ago closed our latest acquisition. So we bought a portfolio of talc mines, 3 mines and 6 processing facilities in the United States and Canada. And so I've just gotten back from traveling and being in all the operations, and now we're sort of focused on integrating that business and continuing to grow Magris as a world-class mineral business. I mean, we have a portfolio of long life assets and very concentrated markets, and we're excited to see how we can build and continue to grow. And so I think 2021 will be a year to integrate the business we have and look to see if there's opportunities to grow.
Okay, we'll stay tuned. And just any last piece of advice you can share with our YMP members who are listening to this interview?
Sure. Look, I think the one thing I would share from our experiences recently with this new acquisition, and I'd share it in with particular sort of emphasis on just the environment we're all in COVID right now. And this is hard, and we're doing things virtually, and we're all dealing with personal challenges and work from home, and that just creates a whole new wave of challenges. But it also creates a great opportunity. And I think for people, particularly young people in the industry, now's a great time to try and build your network, to try and work hard and stand out. And as we get back to a more normal environment, I think that will create great opportunities. Doing an acquisition in the middle of COVID was not easy, but we were able to, figure out ways to navigate challenges and work as a team as best we could in the environment, and ultimately, acquire a business that we're really happy with. And I think that not letting yourself get too discouraged, but trying using this opportunity to really refocus and re-energize and try to find new ways to network with people and find new mentors. This is an opportunity, and people will look back on this and I think have really benefited those that take advantage of it. So I encourage people to do that and not let this sort of distract from their career trajectory. It will be challenging, but I think there's also a lot of opportunities that come out of this.
Oh, that's great. Great advice. Great interview. And again, Matthew, congratulations for winning the YMP Award 2021. And for everyone listening, just stay tuned because we will have a virtual party across our chapters just to celebrate our winners. So congratulations, Matthew, again.
Great. Thanks so much. And really, real pleasure to do this.